So today we have filed a lawsuit against Alfred Montgomery on behalf of our client Tony Kirchner for statements that he put out on Saturday, February 22nd. He was trying to make up more lies to cover up his initial lie that he had made Tony roll the dice for his job. The audio of that has been released, so everyone knows what happened in that meeting. And rather than admit what he had done, he decided to make up more false and defamatory lies against my client, claiming that he was emotionally unstable and that he was dangerous. And we will not sit by while he makes these types of statements.
Is there anything you wanted to say, Deputy?
Yeah, I mean, on Saturday, a lot of people start sending me letters about this, and it really caught me off guard. I've spent the last 5 years as a CIT officer building my name, several commendations from Officer of the Year, most mental health pickups. I take pride in my work, and I've been an advocate for mental health. So to put me in that type of light and make those kind of claims, it was very off-putting, and I'm very upset about that.
How can those claims kind of affect your employment? I mean, he's talking about your emotional state, mentioning that you were armed at that time as well.
That's correct. And the funny thing about that is, I came in plain clothes. I was on bereavement, so no firearm. There was nothing on me that he knew about until the end of that conversation, where I volunteered that information when another sergeant said, do you have any of the equipment that you could turn in? I said, oh, yes, I do have my firearm on me and my badge. And he said, oh, okay. And that's when I turned it in. So once again, it just never ceased to stop, so I want to set the record straight.
Comes out on a Saturday. What was the initial reaction when you read this thing?
I had several people reaching out saying, Tony, did you see this? I mean, they were alarmed for me. You need to speak up, get out there. I know your character, and this is terrible things he's saying about you. They know I take pride in my name. He knows I'm an advocate for mental health, and I have several commendations from probate court to, I've just spent my last 5 years as an advocate on mental health, so yes.
The fact that he thought, it seemed like he thought you were a threat is what I'm gathering from that letter.
Mm-hmm.
Were you at all emotionally distressed or threatening him or?
Right, and that's why I released the entire audio of that entire conversation, where you could see I'm calm, cool, collective. At one point I did say I just lost my father, and you hear it in my voice, but other than that I remained calm, cool, and collective, and the entire conversation was no threat at all. Yeah.
And let me just say, we've released that entire audio. If anyone was acting erratic and just in a very weird and strange way, it was Alfred Montgomery. The audio shows that he is the person who started bringing out the dice, telling an employee to roll for his employment. There is just no excuse for him to then try to cover up his lies to make more false and defamatory statements against my client. And my reaction when I saw those statements was, we are not going to sit by and let him say these things. He is, yes, an elected sheriff of this city, but he is also an individual who has to be held accountable for his actions.
Have you talked with any other deputies that are currently employed still or recently let go, and what are their thoughts?
A lot of deputies have reached out to me. They don't want to come forward with their names, but they wanted to show that there's a lot of support for me, and they're very glad because, that's all I could kind of say on that statement, that someone's speaking up. There's some serious things going on here they're very concerned about, and the amount of support I've had has been overwhelming from deputies, St. Louis City police officers, and everyone, so yes.
When those dice were presented to you, what was your reaction there? I mean, it seemed like you were in disbelief that this was even happening.
I believe on the audio, I kind of stepped back and said I couldn't really believe it, and I was caught off guard and kind of refused. And after him pressuring me, telling me, we've got to hurry up, we got to wrap this up, these are your options, there's no way out. At one point, I was just, it finally gave in to, after several minutes of protest, probably 10 minutes on that audio, 15 protesting it. Okay, I want to roll this. I'm the one, if anything, I just wanted to get out of that situation.
Did you want to share why you decided to record the conversation?
There's been several meetings we had before where we had talked, and like I said, I believe it was on the day, when did he call me? The timeline, I'll have to get straight, but he made a phone call on me in January saying that he has an Ann Schweitzer sign up. He supports Ann Schweitzer, but he wants me to win, and he's behind me. At that point, I just seemed a little strange. And then when I kept asking him about the lead that we talked about, he kept kind of pushing it off. We'll talk tomorrow. We'll talk tomorrow. So I just felt that I better protect myself at that point.
Were you oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, and it went to a different turn than I ever expected.
Were you concerned about him when he took office, or were you hoping that this would have been a good working relationship?
Yeah, I mean, I support the sheriff's department always, and I made that conversation with him clear that, hey, I support the new sheriff. And that means you. It's your administration, your house, and I will accomplish your goals. I'm an instructor. I've been deputy of the year. Whatever you need me for, I can help train these guys and get it on ball. And he said, Kirchner, I really appreciate that. I mean, it was a very strong first 2 days, I should say, but then it took a change.
Is there anything else that you just wanted to say? Anything else in that letter that either of you wanted to touch on?
Well, I will say we have sent communication to Mr. Montgomery today telling him to preserve all evidence in this case, all emails, all text messages, including these alleged now trick gold dice, as he referred to them in his statement. So we are asking that he not do anything to destroy or remove those gold dice from his possession. And we intend on making this man accountable for his actions, which continue not just towards my client, but to many, many other people. And his lies are just adding up and adding up.
With the comment that he was trying to diffuse the situation, is this something as a trained officer that you would have ever done?
So as a CIT instructor and officer, one of the things that you first teach people is never lie. When a person is suffering a mental illness, you don't lie to them saying we're taking a car ride somewhere. You de-escalate, calm down, and talk to them, but you always tell them the truth, and you take your time with them, because that's the most important part. And you don't give them only two options. That's everything in there was any CIT or officer would I think back that up. Yes.
Do you have any idea why his story changed initially, kind of denying it, and then once the audio came out, then him saying this new statement of essentially that he was doing this out of compassion?
I think
He changed his story because he was caught in a lie. And whoever it was who helped him write this statement, they're also part of creating this false story. And it is utterly ridiculous to claim now that rolling the dice for your employment was somehow some sort of compassionate gesture. No one believes that. He was caught in a lie. He didn't know that there was an audio recording of it. And now he's going to have to answer for all of those lies.
And legally, how confident are you that you can win this fight in court? Defamation. I got here a little late. I apologize. I'm guessing are you suing for defamation?
Yes, we're suing him. This lawsuit is just for defamation based upon the February 22nd statements. There will be additional lawsuits to come regarding his illegal termination. This is just for defamation, where he referred to him as emotionally unstable and potentially dangerous to Mr. Montgomery and his staff. That is defamatory statements. Yes, there are certain protections that an elected official has, but these statements were not made in his capacity as an elected official. These were false and defamatory statements to cover up his lies.